Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Plan It Till You Make It. I hope you guys are doing well as always. So in the last video, I reviewed my goals for the month of March. In this video, I'm going to reflect on my goals for quarter one, and then I'm going to close out quarter one, and then in the next video, I'll set my goals for quarter two. In the video after that, I'll set my goals for the month of April, and then the video coming after that is when I will set my goals for the first week of April. Okay, I have my coffee here. I hope you have something to drink. Let's get into it. Okay, let's close out quarter one. So let's close out quarter one. We're going to answer these questions and see how we did. Let me remove this also. Okay, so these were our goals for quarter one. Okay, so let's see how we did. I did update my prayer journal. I pampered myself. I did go to see Samira during concert. I didn't do my quarterly massage. I did go on a date-ish, not really on a solo date. When I tell myself I'm going on a solo date, what I did during the week, I wouldn't really consider it as that. So I wouldn't really consider that to be a goal that was achieved. Yeah, so I would say this is like, I did this halfway. I did take the certificate exam for quarter two. We talked about that in the last video. I did reset my office. There are still some things I need to do, but I'm just going to stick with what I have so far with my office. And then God willing, by the end of quarter two, I will have something in place, something more permanent. And then I will finally buy my desk. Hopefully, we'll see. But that is my goal going into quarter two. And then complete spring release. That's a lie. I'm not having a spring release this year. I don't know if it's something I'll have in the future, but I think to me, I'm still getting myself together, establishing the business. So I think having a spring release now might be too soon. Maybe something I can do in the future. Maybe when God willing, I have other people on the team when it's not just me, then I'll probably have the capacity to do more releases in a year. So this was very unrealistic. So that did not happen. Increased customer. I did create the community group. I have to finalize that and send it out through email. So I did create a community group. If you've purchased the 2026 planner, I have a community group for us to hold each other accountable, see how we're doing with our goals and how we can plan better. If you had a hard time having some wins for the month or for the week, you can also come on the community group. You can post that and then we can see how we can help each other grow. Okay, so that's the purpose of that. Social media, I absolutely not. That did not happen. I'll give myself half a score here. Even here, I'll give myself half a score. I did pretty good. For the most part, I did pretty good. Self-care really went up this quarter. I've been outside. Well, most of it has had to do with the business, promoting the business and networking for other things. But for the most part, compared to how much I go outside, I would say this quarter was a success. Let's answer some questions. See how we did, and then we'll move on from there. All right, what score would I give myself? I accomplished 3 goals completely. I would say I give myself half a point here and half a point here. So one thing, I did do the community group, but I did not do the social media. So that's something I'm really going to work on next quarter. I'll give myself a 7, just like I did last month. I'll give myself a 7. There were some big goals I accomplished last month. And again, even though I did not do these 100%, I made progress towards my goals. I've been doing better. Like I said, I established a really good morning routine. I've been networking and doing all of those things. A lot of those things are things that are outside of my comfort zone. So I really want to celebrate myself for being able to do that, for stepping outside of my comfort zone. So let's do that. So I'll give myself a 7. List 3 wins that happened this quarter. Like I said, a big win that happened for me this month is establishing a morning routine. I've been this quarter. Towards the beginning of the quarter, I realized that I was just not getting things done. The day would fly by and I'll be frustrated with myself because I just felt like I never had enough time. And by the time you wake up, everyone else is awake. You have to tend to other people. You have to help this person or that person with doing something. And so waking up earlier, what it has done for me is it has allowed me to have a time for myself between 5 and 9. 9, that really gives me time to focus, to have quiet time, to journal, to start my morning with God and plan for my day. So that has been, I cannot express. And thank God for the ladies who are holding me accountable through it all. I reached out to some women. I said, y'all, I need help. It's hard for me to be productive during the day. They were wonderful. They would check up on me and ask me, how was your morning routine? Did you complete your morning routine? So that has been a chain breaker for me. And I believe that's going to change the trajectory of my productivity, my business, and everything else that's going to come in the future. So having a morning routine, all that to say. Towards the end, I got cocky and I tried to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I did it probably once or twice, but I realized maybe not now. Maybe not now. Again, it's one of those things, being realistic with myself. I tried it. It just would not work out. And I was starting to not see the point to push myself to do that. So I went back to waking up at 5 a.m. and it's still going great. Y'all, believe it or not, those 30 minutes will make a difference. And the second thing that happened, even though that was not one of my goals, but I've gone back to working out. I took a long break with the release that was happening towards the end of the year, and the beginning of the year was just a lot still. Now that has quieted down a bit with the business and I've established a good routine for everything, I was able to find time to work out. Like I said, even my workouts are part of my morning routine. After I do my quiet time, I put on my workout clothes and I go work out. So I don't give myself that option. So again, back to the 5 a.m. routine has been such a game changer when it comes to my goals. So working out, that's a big win. That's that. And then finally, I would say building a community. Another thing that has been, like I said earlier, with waking up early, I believe God is teaching me something when it comes to community. God is teaching me that I'm not an island. I don't have to try to figure out everything by myself. And some people are very genuine and some people really do want to help me. Not everybody's bad. Not everyone is here to be negative. There are people really out there that they just have so much love in their hearts and they're willing to help and they're willing to support, which God is teaching me. And so a good mentor of mine, God has blessed her, and even now she's opened the door for me to be in rooms that I never thought I would be in, especially since March was Women's Month. So there were a lot of opportunities to be in rooms with other strong women, business women, women who are in government, women who are directors of the police departments in our city. So I've been in some very powerful rooms this month, and I'm slowly but surely building a community. I've met many people, but out of each meeting, I walk away with one good contact, not to take advantage of people, just to see how they're building their business, just to see how they're doing things, just to be a motivation, not to take away, but to observe, to learn from them, even from afar. And I thank God for that, because that is really changing my perspective, and that is really helping me to be better as a person, as a business owner, as a student, as one who speaks encouraging words to other people, who is interceding for other people. So having this community has really helped me to be better in doing those things. So all right, so these are very strong things that happened for me this month. That is why at the end of each month, each quarter, I have a place to write down the wins that happen, whether for the month or whether for the quarter, because it's always important when you feel discouraged and you feel like you're not doing enough. Even like I said, I've only fully accomplished 3 goals. Even with that, I could easily feel discouraged to say I'm not doing anything. But the truth of the matter is, look at all these other things I've overcome. Look at all these challenges I've overcome for this quarter. So when you write down your wins, that really help you to count your blessings, is what I say. Count your blessings and see how far God has brought you, even in 3 months, the transformation that's happening in my life over the 3 months. So that is why it's very important. We'll talk about the other things that did not go right. We'll strategize better to go into next quarter. But before we even get into all of that, getting into the negativity, the seemingly discouraging aspects of our goals, I want us to always start on a positive note, which is what I have here. Starting on a positive note, what went right. And then from there, we can be grateful. Our hearts can be in the right place as we go through our goals and we answer the hard questions and reflect on what didn't go right and how we can do better. So it's really to set the tone as we answer the rest of these questions. Okay. So list the goals I had. I'm going to do that really quickly. And of course, I completed this goal. Someone completed this goal. I did this one, and these 2. I'm just going to leave these blank. All right, let's put this to the side and let's answer some questions. Were there goals I did not achieve this quarter? If so, what obstacles got in the way? So these 2 goals did not get accomplished. I was unrealistic. As I said in the monthly review, I was unrealistic about saying I was going to do a spring release, considering all the things I have to do with school and all of that, and I don't have a solid team yet, or I don't have a team at all, actually. So to expect myself to do all of that in 3 months was unrealistic. So that is one thing. And of course, increased customer base. I did some of that, but not just increasing customers in terms of numbers, but bringing more exposure to the business. And one way I wanted to do that was through social media. I did not do so well with that simply because I was not intentional about my filming days and I wanted to do more than I was able to. So that's what it was for these 2 goals. What unexpected changes or events occurred and how did they influence my progress? There were a lot of life transitions that happened, and I'll address that. Well, I did not post that video, but there were a lot of life transitions that happened that changed how I do things, that changed my routine, and that changed how I moved throughout the day. And so those were unexpected. They happened, and those are the reasons, some of the reasons why I was not able to accomplish my goals or stick with my goals, even though towards the end of the quarter, I adjusted and adapted and I was able to do that. But overall, life transitions happened that made it difficult for me. They affected my progress. How realistic and attainable were my goals considering my resources and timeline? Very unrealistic. I find that I'm always saying that every quarter. It was very unrealistic. I already talked about it, considering the manpower I have, considering I'm a solopreneur, as the girls say. So that's a lot. That's a lot to expect out of me, considering how many things I have to balance overall. So wanting to have a spring release be done by March, considering I had just completed my fall release in December, I would say it was very unrealistic. And considering my timeline, considering how much resources available to me. All right. So that is the quarter 1 reflection. Now we're going to address what changes we're going to make going into quarter 2. So what are the 6 goals I will focus on for quarter 1? I've been thinking about my time. I've been thinking about things I would like to accomplish in quarter 2, and considering by the end of the quarter 2, we'll be halfway through the year. And I'm thinking about how much time I will have. And with that, I've been kind of thinking about what's urgent, what needs my attention now, and what I can work on to make sure I am set come the end of the year. So I think after thinking about it for some time, I think I have an idea of what I want to do and what I want to get done. So let's list those things, and then I will talk more about why I chose those goals. Going back to my yearly goals, I did the work certification. So that's one thing I did. I've been keeping up with my daily gratitude, but I will check this off towards the end of the year. For the most part, I've been keeping up with praying 2 times a day. So that's that. So next quarter, actually, I want to focus more on intercession. Interceding meaning praying for other people, whether for the sick or people who are going through financial difficulties. Whatever someone asks me for prayer about, that's what I mean by interceding for others. As I understand it from scripture, interceding for others basically means standing in the gap, standing between God and that person and pleading with God on behalf of that person for whatever reason. So that's what I mean by interceding for others. I did reset my prayer journal, so my prayer journal is ready to go. All right, so quarter 2, for my spiritual goals, I'm going back to intercessory prayer. So praying on behalf of others. I might change the wording for that. I don't know if that's the best wording for that. For self-care, I'm going back to fitness. So this will be fitness and wellness. Like I said, towards the end of the year, I kind of fell off with my fitness journey. And then towards the beginning of the year, I was still not doing great. So that is something I'm going to go back to in the second quarter. Focus a lot on fitness and wellness. For personal development, I went back and forth with a few things. I was going to put graduate from school, which is one of my goals, completing my master's degree. Instead of that, there's another certification course I want to take. I'm going to do some research on that. I want to have that completed by the end of quarter 2, because again, it's about making myself a great candidate for the workforce. So these certifications, they really help when I apply for jobs, especially in my career field. A lot of times they'll call for a contract and they'll ask, do you have such and such? And even now, I'm also thinking about working locally and doing all of those things. So I want to make myself a great candidate. That is why I'm taking all those certification exams. So I'm going to put that there. All right, so certification for management. For adulting, I need to renew my passport. There are some things I need to do. There's some traveling I would like to do, even if I'm not doing any traveling outside of the country this year. But those are things I would like to do in the future. So I just need to get this out of the way and be a grown up about it and get it done. So that's something I want to focus on. So for Q2, I want to place mass order for fall release. A lot of my business and financial goals are kind of intertwined because some of my income does come from my business. And so doing the things I need to do for the business is one way to increase my income. And so for number 6, for finances, one thing I want to do more of going into Q2, bringing more visibility to my business, to my brand. So I'm going to continue doing a lot of the things I was already doing in Q1, which is networking, doing speaking engagements, and I'm going to continue to work on being more present on social media. I'm not going to complicate it. It's going to be 1 long form video per week and 3 short form videos. Nothing major, just to build consistency. It's not necessarily about putting a bunch of videos out there, but it's about putting out a few videos here and there, but being consistent about what I put out. So increase visibility, would I say? So in the next video, when I set my goals for the quarter, you're going to see how I'm going to break each one of those down to make sure I accomplish that goal. Okay, so this question asks about what habits and behaviors hindered my progress in Q1 that I need to let go of to create space for growth in the next quarter. That's being unrealistic about my time and my resources and making sure that I am planning based on what is available to me now. Not what I hope would be available, not what I wish would be available to me, but what is available to me now. So now, I do need to be more present on social media. I need to start working on the fall release and all of those things. However, I do have to remember I am one person. I am the only employee in the business now. So keeping that in mind. So that's all the resources that's available to me. Being mindful about my finances, how much money I'm investing in the business, understanding, okay, this is all I have available to me now. Keeping that in mind when I place orders, when I'm thinking about how many units to buy of certain things. Okay, so being realistic. All right. So which actions help me to stay focused and productive in Q1 that I want to remain part of my routine next quarter? As I've mentioned before, my morning routine. What new habits do I want to develop to help me progress toward my goals next quarter? Now, one thing I would like to do, so God help me, I want to get in the habit of going to bed early. For the most part, 85%, I've mastered waking up early. However, my morning routines are supposed to start at night. And so how I end my night will really determine how my next day goes. What I mean by that, I have been waking up at 5 a.m., except I don't go to sleep early. And so after I'm done with my morning routine, I'll get some work done. When I take a break to do my midday prayer, I'm really tired. So after I pray, or while I'm praying, to be honest, I will fall asleep and I would nap for about 2 hours in a day. Now, I'm not going to punish myself by not taking a nap. That's something I used to do in the past. Starve myself of an afternoon nap. If my body needs it, I'm learning to listen to my body more. If my body needs it, I'll do it. However, I don't want me taking a nap during the day being the result of not sleeping enough hours the night before. So I do want to establish a strong night routine. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Again, that's something I need to pray about, because one thing about me, I'm going to force myself to work until I get everything done. A lot of time, rest is something that usually comes last for me. You'll see as I break down my goals for the quarter, rest is going to be something that I'm going to add to my wellness goal for Q2. All right, so far so great. Now the last question asks me to write an affirmation emphasizing my strengths and my commitment to keep me motivated as I work toward my goals next quarter. So an affirmation I can write for myself is appreciating the fact that I can change. I have the ability and the desire, and I'm pushing myself to change. I'm pushing myself to make changes and transformations that are going to help me better with my goals. I've learned that I can do it with the right people, with the right mindset, with the right community. I can do the things I set my mind to. So that is something I want to remind myself going into quarter two. Quarter two is going to be a bit more challenging. My classes end towards the end of quarter two, beginning of quarter three. So that's a bit much for me, and also working on the mass order. Those are a few challenging things I have going on into quarter two, which I wouldn't recommend. But because I'm learning to set good routines, so I'm going to continue to find places in my day to establish those things. With the right mindset, with the right foundation, I am able to do the things I set my mind to. So I want to remember that I am capable of changing. I'm capable of adapting to my environment, to my current circumstances, to make the best of my life, my goals. So let me find the words to write it down. Okay, and that is it for my quarter two preview. This is my mindset going into quarter two, the things I plan on working on and adjustments I'm going to make based on how I did in quarter one and what I learned about myself in quarter one. These are the adjustments I'm going to make sure I do better in quarter two. Okay, let's put this up. Okay, so that is it for our reflections for quarter one, how we're setting the tone going into quarter two. In the next video, we'll be setting our goals for quarter two and breaking them down into things we're going to do each month to make sure that we stay productive with our goals. Okay, and that is it. Bye.